Welcome to the Christmas service from Mission Alliance Church. Thank you for joining us online and for watching this video. We would have loved to gather in person and together sing the familiar Christmas carols, but this will have to do. It's a different Christmas this year. There's a lot that we will miss. But what if the different circumstances would enable us to meet God in a special way? You know how some years we long for less commercialism in Christmas, less family expectations. What if this Christmas Eve could truly be a silent and holy night? And this Christmas Day, a much needed Sabbath. My prayer for us this Christmas is that we would meet God in a special way and see more clearly how He is Emmanuel, God with us. And as a sign of His presence with us, we light the Advent candles of hope, faith, joy, and peace, with the Christ candle in the center. And the candles are lit in the church and in the people's homes.
In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius was governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and the line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for a baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger, because there were no guest rooms available for them. And there were shepherds living out in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. And the angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today, in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord."
This will be a sign to you. To us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace.
A shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and of understanding, the Spirit of counsel and of might, the Spirit of the knowledge and fear of the Lord. And he will delight in the fear of the Lord. He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes or decide by what he hears with his ears, but with righteousness he will judge the needy. With justice he will give decisions for the poor of the earth. He will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips he will slay the wicked. Righteousness will be his belt, and faithfulness the sash around his waist. The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them. The cow will feed with the bear. Their young will lie down together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. The infant will play near the cobra's den, and the young child will put its hand into the viper's nest. They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea.
One Christmas morning, a man woke up around 5 a.m. His wife and children still asleep. He went downstairs to the kitchen, brewed himself some coffee, and started reading the morning newspaper. He enjoyed this quiet time. But very soon, his 5-year-old daughter came down the stairs. He looked at her and said, "Oh, honey, go back to bed." But she said, "I'm not tired, Daddy." Looking down at the paper, he came up with a plan. In the paper was a picture of the world, which he cut into several pieces. And then he gave his daughter a piece of Scotch tape, or a roll of Scotch tape, and sent her to the living room and said, "See if you can put the world back together." And the daughter accepted the challenge, and he went back to his coffee and his newspaper. But after only a few sips of coffee, his daughter jumped into the kitchen and said, "Daddy, I've finished." And she showed him the world put back together. And amazed, he asked, "Sweetie, how did you do it so quickly?" And she said, "Simple, Daddy. On the back side was a picture of a man. If you make the man right, you make the world right." I wonder how many of us would like to see the world made right. Some years, the troubles of the world may seem far away, at least to some. But this year, we have all been affected by the coronavirus pandemic. Some years, the world feels invincible, but not this year. We've been reminded of the fragility of life on fallen planet Earth. The global economy is fragile. Our advanced medical systems are vulnerable, and so are relationships and people's emotional well-being. Our bodies and even life itself is deeply vulnerable. Maybe more than other years, we long for the restoration of the world, for the world to be made right. Christmas is such a time for this longing. Of course, we also think of the birth of Jesus in Bethlehem, the Son of God, the Savior of the world, God who came to be with us. But the Christian church always looks ahead to the second coming of Christ, when he will come again and establish his kingdom of peace. For everything to be made new, for everything to be made right. The prophet Isaiah in the Bible describes a world that is right. In Isaiah chapter 11, we read about a better future, filled with hope, justice, and righteousness. There will be peace and harmony. We are told about a wolf living with the lamb, predator and prey living together in harmony. A child will play near a cobra's den, put its hand into a viper's nest. They will neither harm nor destroy. It's a beautiful picture of a world reconciled in peace and harmony as it should be. It reminds us of the original creation that we read about in the book of Genesis, before the fall, before sin and brokenness entered the world. Our broken and fallen world will one day be restored, and everything will be made right. How will this take place? Isaiah tells us that it will come about by one person. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and of might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. The one Isaiah describes is the Messiah, the Christ, the eternal King. It is through him that salvation comes to the world. The reign of King Jesus will produce the restoration and the renewal that we all long for. For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. This Christmas, we long for Christ to come again. The little girl told her dad, "When you make the man right, you make the world right." In a similar way, only King Jesus can make our world right. You can receive him in your heart today. Let him reign in your life. And we long for the day that he will reign on planet Earth and everything will be made right. And so may the peace and love of Christ be with you all. Merry Christmas.